What's up, everybody? That's right here with more Final Fantasy XI. Last time we got a lot of backstory on August, the founder king of Adeline. We found out Melvian trying to murder everybody because, he's a dick. We saw darkness throughout his body, so I figure he's not dead because why would he die that quick when he just turned out to be a villain? We found out Hades is trying to get resurrected so he can fuck up the world. Last time we left off, we had to wait for game day, like always, and talk to Level. That day's here. We also only have about a couple hours to do this stream because they're about to do maintenance at like 2 hours and 15 minutes, so let's see what we can get done in that time. Alright, so first things first, let's talk to our boy Level. Oh, hiya, that's right. You're probably more at home bashing in skulls and playing politics, but have you ever heard the rumors about Lord Melvian? What's a Melvian? Of course, what a tragedy. The shock waves of the news shook the city harder than the most recent land shivers. Of course, you've seen him in the flesh, so who am I to tell you what the hard-working, dedicated man he was? His order is positively in shambles. They're out of steam from covering his duties. Never mind finding a replacement, or more likely, replacements. Why? Well, Melvian can do the work of 100 men, and now they've got to divvy it up. What order was he again? I mean, divvy it up. We already know that's pretty much what they were doing when they couldn't find him. Well, let's just use an example that strikes close to home. Let's say Leith, Master Lee, who is able to do more than the rest of the coalition, ends up sending you and me to do her dirty work. Even thinking of it makes my skin crawl. Why does this keep moving up? There we go. Of course, this would be true of any order, but to think of all this would happen right when colonization was just hitting its stride. Especially when the word is you've all found a way deeper into that raw Khazilian or whatever. And lately the ground has been shaken more than just metaphorically. Speaking of, I think it might be the biggest land shiver yet. I'll tell you, this just stay normal, or natural. You and the princess were all smiles when you returned from the continent, so I figured all was right with the world. But things are never that simple, are they? And now with the whole Melvian debacle, the leaders of the other 11 orders are at each other's throats like the raptors down in Water Garden Coliseum. I can only imagine the mopey look on the princess's angelic face. That's right, if anyone knows how to rouse her spirits, it's you. Good Arcella, for both our sakes. Alright, let's go to Arcella, which I'm sure she's probably at the castle, but I'll look that up in a second. Let me clear that. Oops. Whoops. Alright. Yeah, just approach the castle. The hell? Hold on. Well, I'll be. Look who's come to visit the castle. Who are you again? Gotcha. Of course I remember you, that's right. But I'm not gonna pull your leg out of this socket this go. Now, there's something I want to talk to you about. Come on, let's go somewhere quiet. The princess has been moping about lately, and if anyone knows what happened to her, I figured it'd be you. I tried asking Cynthia, but she never gives me a straight answer, and given the way she nods off while on duty, well, you're just a better person to ask. Sweet Mercy, say something. I'm not letting you budge until you spill the beans. Someone's nosy. Peacekeepers Coalition has arrived at the only reasonable conclusion. The wounds on his body are signs of a struggle. they found his body? I thought he was gonna, like, dispose of himself. Beyond doubt, what concerns me more is the motive for escaping unfettered to such a desolate wasteland. Listen to the two of you, dullards to a fault. Stay your tongue, Lay. Oh, please, there's nothing to be gained wringing your hands over the past. Riddle me this, the head of one of your 12 esteemed orders shirks his duties to go gallivanting into the forest and he ends up sleeping with the fishes. He's made a laughingstock out of all of us. Lay, do you not think? He was a fool. He grew complacent thinking Eastern Albuca is safe and forgetting what it means to fear the forest. When Ignis ordered colonization to commence, we all knew that there would be prices to be paid. Let there be no doubt, Melvian dug his own grave. So shedding tears for that moron or else we won't be able to move forward. These words may be verbal briars, but I find myself in total agreement. Melvian supported colonization more than any of us, so the rumors going about town don't surprise me in the least. Rumors? What rumors? That Melvin's death was not a coincidence, but rather a carefully orchestrated plot by those opposed to explorations on the continent. How dare you? You waltz in here after contributing nothing for months and have the gall to. Stop your whining, Gretzig. I didn't say I believe, just that hushed words and furtive glances are being exchanged in dank taverns and back alleys. Stop hemming and hawing, Margaret. If you have something to say, then out with it. Your hat doesn't match your outfit. Rumors are a vicious thing, Machiro. Forgive me for thinking out loud, but couldn't it also be radical faction of colonization supporters assassinating Melvin to cast aspersions on those opposed? Unthinkable. Explain yourself. Melvin exerted a disproportionate amount of influence over those in this camp. None of us can deny it. He spent so much time and effort sending words to the wild, it is so unthinkable that one found its way into his back. Whose side do you want, Margaret? We've always counted on the Order of Haverton's support. This is not about political posturing, but simply ensuring that we're properly diligent in considering all perspectives. You disgust me. You're not considering all perspectives, just stirring the pot. This nation is divided enough without you deepening the rift. We've done nothing other than provide an alternative hypothesis. The only one who truly knows what happened is the man himself. And without further evidence, we cannot but speculate. I'm sure we all value your opinion. Get back to your books and leave the discussion to those who are more qualified. We had all our ducks in a row and something like this had to happen. Enough of the senseless bickering. We all know why we are here today, and I bid us get started. This way, there we go. You sure spent a vivid yarn, that's right. I felt like I was writing the action in myself, but wait, that's not what matters here. No wonder the princess is so in the dumps, and Cynthia too, the poor thing, dozing off at her post from all the stress. Sure, that's why. If there's one thing that'll cheer them up, it's gotta be tomatoes. Who doesn't fucking get cheered up by tomatoes? But now we've got to be familiar with the box of Adeline tomatoes growing down in Rowland waterways, bright as the setting sun and plump and juicy to boot. And who do you think brought the tomato plants back from Eastern Albuca? The intrepid Ursula? Come on, can't you let a gal just have just one? You're right, of course. She found several sprouts while out exploring, and that's why we're able to grow them here today. What better way to turn their frown upside down than reminding her of the good she does for the city? So shove off to Civic Arboretum and procure me some veggies. You don't know how much time you'd be saving me. Just picture the look of gratitude on the princess's face. She just wants us to do her fucking job for her. Alright, she wants me to go enter from the residential area. In Western Adelaide. So that's gonna be over here. We want to talk to Shalvava. Hey, Space Bow. Thanks for the follow. Alright, so after we get these tomatoes, we are going to straight back to the castle. Hey, how you doing this night? Alright. Let's talk to this guy before for stuff, so this is good. Technically not my first time. I did play when it came out for quite a while. But my first time with this expansion. So I played up... I owned up until Wind of the Goddess, but technically I've never completed any of the storyline except for like the main quest. So I figured, you know what? I'd come back and give it a go. So I've been playing I started again like last year. I've just been going through the story. It's a lot friendlier now than it was way back then, because it took a long time to level up back in the day. And now you can max out fucking like 3 days. It's very nice. It's very good to finally come back and enjoy the story and all the expansions. Well, my goodness, it's been quite a while since I've last seen you down here, that's right. Looking for some tomatoes. Funny that, someone from the castle asked for a shipment, and when I replied that we had our hands full with the harvest, they said that they'd send someone. Is that someone you? No, but one of the maids sent you. She pulled a fast one. Well, who takes them off my hands was of no concern to me as long as they reach the castle safely. Let me just go. What's this then? Did she really come follow us here? My legs. Why'd I haul my keister down here without an escort or anything? It must be because Gwyneth has her eyes on me. So you've never played this before. Nice. But you enjoy Love Final Fantasy stories. Alright. Yeah. It's definitely very friendly if you want to solo through it, if you wanted to give it a shot ever. But I definitely use a guide because it's very old school, so it doesn't really tell you where to go. So that's the fastest way to get through it. But it's actually very nice, the fact that they added trust to the game. So you can actually like form a party without having to like add one and look for one is very nice. They help out a lot. But this storyline in this game has been really good. I think my favorite expansion so far, because this was like the last expansion that got released, minus whatever like scenarios they've added to the game, has definitely been Chains of Promathia, and I would say Winds of the Goddess for second. This one would probably be third to me, followed by Treasures, Stillheart, and then probably the base. Phew, I got the wind back in my cell. Sorry to keep you waiting. It's me, Framilla from Castle Adoulin. Of course you are. So what brings you down to the Arbitorium? Did your superiors find out you forced this pioneer to do your dirty work? You're well, half right. Sorry, that's right. I didn't mean any harm by it. And just what do you mean by half right? Yes, well, Arcella personally told me to come down here and tell That's Right that there's something she'd like to share with him. And there you have it. Oh, the tomatoes, free not. The sensational Framilla will take it upon herself to see they arrive safely at the castle. Isn't that your job, Wob, to begin with? So, that's right, the princess is waiting for you. I tried Horizon, I have not. I do know about it though, so I know that one's more, takes you back into the old school feel of everything. But that one I have not tried out. I'd give anything for the princess to trust me like she does, that's right, and Gwyneth. But sitting here moping and muttering doesn't do anyone any favors. You'll see, you'll become the best maidservant Adoulin has ever seen. If that's truly what you desire, then the first step is not to shove your work onto others. You're sharp-tongued, Shalava. Your words are like knives, but maybe it was my fault after all. Stop dwelling on what happened and learn from it. You're a good kid, Framilla. Here, take your tomatoes. We all want you to see the city thrive and prosper. You have your own role to play, and as do I, and every other man and woman this side of yours yet. You're right, of course. And take some pride in your work. Got it. Alright, back to the castle. Okay. That is true, it doesn't. Which is, for an older game, you know, it kind of makes sense, but for an MMO, it's kind of rough because the world is so huge. And sometimes you have to be like very specific with what you do or where you go. If you don't know where you're going, it's kind of rough. Because I remember the first time I played the game when it originally came out, I didn't know anybody that played it. So I kind of loaded it up and started, and I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I had no idea. So I ended up quitting it. Then I had a friend in school, we were talking about it, he's like, oh hey, I play that. So then he kind of helped me, guide me, and show me the ropes and everything, and then from there I was like, alright, cool, this game's actually amazing. So he kind of guided me, then he had like a link shell, so I joined that, and then from there everyone kind of like helps you out with what you need. Or if you need like a party for like any of the bosses or any of the dungeons, because like some of the times you need other people to do stuff. So like, for example, I think it's, where is it? Crawler's Nest? Not Crawler's Nest. Or is it Crawler's Nest? I think it's Crawler's Nest. There's a spot where you need have people in your party because you need to stand on these weights, stick the door to open. So back in the day, you needed a party for that, which today you don't. You just need a key item. But yeah, very cool ideas that they had in the game, but definitely need help for it. That's right, you came. Thank goodness Framella reached you in time. That strong landshiver caused some grave damage to various sections of Rala waterways, and the Order of Irene is in utter disarray. They claim the currents have shifted. This cannot bode well. I wish I knew more, but I learned only the fundamentals of geomancy from my tutors. Someone more versed in the issue from the Order of Renee will be visiting the castle shortly, and I want you to be there with me. Sure. I felt the duty to accompany Icky to Lefalia in light of the events that transpired in Khemur Drifts. Some things are easier to understand in person. Since that time, Icky has approached me with increasing frequency. She has also been a bit, well, I hesitate to say standoffish because that implies the lack of concern, but she's a woman of few words. That makes approaching her a bit of a task, and one that I shied away from until recently. A failing of mine is one of the prominent faces of Adolin. But ever since we met, I've learned so much about myself, about the world. But we've no time for musings. Come, the council awaits. This meeting better get underway soon. I don't trust my good-for-nothing subordinates to even sweep the floors, let alone run things in my absence. Olay, ever the sourpuss. Icky never would have called us here if she didn't have something important to say. I may provide some juicy tidbits that will help you in ours. One can only hope. Icky, please. We are all interested in hearing your observations. I'm afraid the situation is grave. An area of the waterways has collapsed. That landshiver sent my shelves tumbling to the ground, so it's not surprising that dilapidated cesspool would cave in. We'll just have to repair it. What's the problem? Just up a quick budget and I'll hire some workers to get it patched up in no time. All things in this world are in flux. What once had form will return to dust. That is an immutable law of nature. We mustn't lay blame on things that break. It's the way of things. Huh? You're all flapping your gums, but all I hear is nonsense. Come on, Icky, stop pretending to be all cryptic and mysterious and say what you mean. You're the head of the order and not a blabbling doomsayer. Right. I'm sorry. I'm not even that mad. I just want you to be more clear. Be direct and to the point. We're all listening. Go on. Damn you, woman, out with it. Make him shut up. Give him a kick to the rump. Kick him. I'm actually gonna kick him. Oh no, I just walked over to him. That's right. Just what are you? Get away from me, you hovering. It's making me ill. I can't kick him? Okay. That would have been funny, though. Just a little tap. Get away from him. Stop covering my... We just choke him out. Are you trying to say the Urgazade has been shattered? The Urgazade? Hildebert, I'm not familiar with such a name. Forgive me, Ursula, for keeping its existence a secret from you. Hickey if I may. Ursula, surely you remember the plot to assassinate Ignis that your pioneer companion managed to foil. Of course. When I say that Ignis had been transformed into the most curious form, I began to doubt the catalyst with the curse of the Founder King after all. I consider myself a lettered man, but happen to know a good deal about the events that transpired during the Great Expedition. August appeared before the king and the heads of each order in their dreams, beseeching them to cease making inroads into Ulbuka. This was but one of several incidents that spurred them to turn tail and seal themselves within the city walls. Not content with merely heeding the Founder King's warning, Adolin's rulers created a new grave in honor of August's memory deep within Rala waterways. I trust all present are familiar with this part of the story. That's right, you are not of our land. Do you need me to go over the details once more? No, I'm good. Yet honoring August's memories is but half of the truth. Ursula, you are to the head of the house, and hence have not been apprised of the full story. Yet I would be remiss to hide information from you as the future stands poised in the balance. Allow me to shed some light on the story and reveal to you the truth. That's right, you should be privy to this as well. I'm nothing if not pragmatic, but I cannot vouch for your future here should my words ever leave this hall. I would trust him with my life. Hildebert, your riddles rival those of Vicky. What is this half-truth of which you speak? The shrine dedicated to August is more than just a memorial. It's a giant geomagnetic seal. A seal containing the spirit of August himself? I'm not versed in the particulars, but whether it is a spirit or his will, the fact remains that the Founder King held great sway over the city long after his death. It loomed over the populace, threatening it with divine punishment should they not heed his warnings. As the Great Expedition progressed, pioneers reported seeing his form appearing before them. Though this phenomenon was originally denounced as hallucinations born from overwork, it was not long before an epidemic broke out among the populace. Ill fortune also befell the heads of the 12 orders. The citizenry was paralyzed with fear of something they could feel, but not touch. The king of the age, vexed and nearly hysterical, turns the city itself into a barrier to ward off evil spirits. But how is such a thing even possible? He constructed waterways deep beneath the city. The citizenry was informed of naught but that they were to make life in Adolin self-sustaining. That was merely a front. The waterways themselves are veins and large magical apparatus flooded with geomatic energies. Like most veins, the blood flows back to the heart, the grave of the Founder King. This must be the seal Mormar was referring to back in Camille Drifts. The most storied geomancer of the time oversaw the project for commencement to completion, and even the slightest bends and the most minuscule differences in elevation were carefully planned out to draw geomatic wards around the city. And the very water itself, ostensibly for purposes of sustenance and irrigation, is in fact a physical means to carry forth spiritual energies. Their directionality fixed for centuries is of utmost import to the type of magic the wards imparts. For years they have served to divert harm from the city to the outside world. Yes, sure. So, the story with Seekers of Adolin is it's a brand new continent from, like, the mainland game. So when we got here, we ran into the princess, Zarcelda, who's like the gray-haired girl. Her brother is the man in charge. He's turned into, it's called a leaf gan, so it looks like a little ball of leaves. But he was turned into that by the founder king of the nation, who was like centuries old. Because he wanted to try to tell him to communicate with the World Tree to say, hey, don't colonize the land, it's not good. So back in the day, I found this out last stream, is the founder king had 12 members of his order, which is like the order that we're talking to now. They all have different parts and jobs in the city. Like some people are in charge of, pioneering, like looking out in the world. Some people are in charge of, all the finances and all that stuff. So he went out to try to save the planet, and they ran into what was just known as Hades, which is, if you know anything about the other Final Fantasies, he's kind of like a summon or a secret boss in some of the other games. So he's there, and they ended up fighting him and sealing him away in kind of this little mazy area called, what was it called? Subterranean Serpent or something like that. And that's why you're seeing like these like little earthquakes that you saw on the screen here a little bit there. Is he's trying to kind of reawaken and come about, because after all these years of progress, they started colonizing again, so it started to wake him up. And then the World Tree started to die out, so we ran into some mythical creatures from like back in the day. So we helped one of them out, which is this dragon, was like missing scales. So he's like, you know what, I can help you out, but I'm in so much pain from missing the scales that I can't get to what's called the Light's Land, where like there was a bulb of the World Tree to help revive the World Tree. It's like I can't get to it without the scale, so we had to go and get the scales for him. So we did that, and then we went to combine it with the World Tree to kind of like help sustain it, so like he could put Hades back to sleep. But when we did that, one of the guys in this order actually tried to murder everybody. So we stopped him when he said he's dead, but one of the last things I saw last stream was like a dark aura coming out of his body, so I'm sure he's still around. But that's what they were talking about a few scenes ago. They were talking about that dude Melvin. So he supposedly, we said he's dead, so we said that he went out. Technically we killed him, not us, but like one of our party members. But they want to start a whole war, saying, oh, yeah, we fought him and killed him. So they said that he went to the wilds and basically got killed out there by probably some monsters out there. But now when they're examining their body, they're saying, it seems like a struggle, who knows what's going on. That's kind of like where they're kind of bickering here and there, saying, why did he die? Who would have wanted to kill him? So trying to think about it that way, more like instead of the fact that, hey, maybe he just went out there and got killed by a monster because he shouldn't have been out there, especially because he didn't have any bodyguards with him. But there seems to be something more with him, because he said, oh, it's a long time no see to one of the mythical creatures, because like, dude, like, you guys are old, so how would you know who they are? So the whole goal is basically we're trying to restore the World Tree so that Hades won't wake up and murder everybody. So this guy August they're talking about, that's the name of the founder king. So they're talking about a monument for him that was put underground. So that's kind of like where I just was to get the tomatoes. There's just waterways under there. So apparently they're saying that they built that to channel some energy to kind of like, I'm assuming, make it so people wouldn't see him in presence, like hallucinate him. Because he's been trying to get into people's minds and telling them like, hey, this is what you need to do to protect the land. Like, don't do this, and people are taking it the wrong way. So yeah, kind of convoluted, but interesting. Because it started out, when you start off here, it's kind of like, oh yeah, this is what you're supposed to do, and like we're trying to pioneer and colonize the world, like help us out. It wasn't until like, because I'm in chapter 4, I think, still for this mission. And we barely once I started chapter 4, it's like, kind of like when we got the whole baseline story of like what's really going on. Everything before them was kind of like, oh, hey, go from here, do this, do that. But for the most part, what happened before this is all about, you have two sides: people that think we shouldn't colonize the world, and people that think we should colonize it. And then everyone's kind of like bickering about going back and forth with that, and that's kind of like the story was up to until we got like kind of like this backstory about what's going on with the Founder King and then Hades and all that. So now the people that we're talking to now don't know that. They still, want to colonize, not colonize, whereas we are like, hey, this is what we need to do, so we have to try to figure it out. If any of that makes sense, I don't know. But like I said, it's kind of convoluted, but kind of makes sense. Because she thought too it was weird, because like if you're gonna make a monument for the Founder King, like why not like build it above ground? So clearly this is probably why, is because it had some kind of like spiritual power, and then they're like, you know what, let's bury the damn thing. No problem. But why? August is the man who saw our great nation rise. Why would they fear when we owe so much to? Even though he may have brought great good upon our city, there is one undeniable fact. The only thing man fears more than that which he does not know is that which he knows only in part. Yet their caution appears to have been well placed. Up until now, no other calamity has befallen our land. We have been content to live in peace for several centuries. Now, it's broken. Who cares if it broke? Then we fix it. I don't see any problem. A lot of you sit here chit-chattering and wringing your hands with us when there's progress to be made. No wonder it's taken this long to get where we are. What's with you people? Once we find the money, it'll be a snap. Up and at 'em. Just spit some coin, hire a bunch of those pioneers to get on it, and make them shut up again? Sure. Hey, not again. Gurgle. It's not that simple. Whatever do you mean? The inscriptions have been overwritten. Overwritten? Perhaps a visual aid will help. So like her brother I was talking about is turned into like a little pile of leaves. That's the little green dude that you can see in the chair. Take a look. This is a device my order refers to as a crux. Trained individuals can use it to read the currents of a life stream. This particular device has been attuned to the Rala waterways. Now, see how it is contorted? This means that the incantation has been transposed into something else. But as to what exactly, how, that's something I can't tell without visiting the site directly. But Ikki, do you think that wise with all the beasts lurking down there? Then your choice to call that shrine was a prudent one. You can go places we cannot. I wholeheartedly approve. He has proven his worth many times thus far. And further, what was discussed in this room must not be shared with others, and hence we can only trust one from this congregation. That's right, your service to the city has been more than happenstance. Having Arcella vouch for you is proof beyond doubt. Then we are in accord. That's right, we anxiously await your successful return. I'll do all I can. I know, right? Sad indeed, because he can't even talk to anybody. Technically, the only person he could talk to was us, because when we were out in the wild, we ended up getting kind of like a seed, and the seed let us communicate with him like telepathically. But since he's been in that form for so long, he kind of like lost the ability to communicate with us now. But the whole reason they turned him into that is technically the Founder King that turned him into that, because he wanted him to be able to communicate with the World Tree. So the World Tree could tell him, like, hey, like, you need to stop colonizing. But nobody could communicate with them, so it was like, he couldn't tell anybody what to do. He could just, like, point until we came around. Where was I going? Back to the waterways. So that's kind of how the storyline started. Was when we got to the castle, we found him. They wanted us to kind of like find a way to like turn him back, but we never found a way yet. So there's 3 points we have to click on in the waterways. 2, where's the entrance here? It's over there. What made me want to come back to this game? I enjoyed it a lot back in the day, so I've always wanted. I feel like I spent so much time playing it that I should come back to it and at least finish it, because I really did enjoy like the storylines that I was playing. I can't remember why. I'm sure life just got in the way. That's why I ended up stop playing it back in the day. But I always wanted to come back to it and finish the stories, just because I thought they were really good. And I figured, you know what, this game's what, 20 years old now, so it's not going to be around forever. So I was like, you know what, especially because it's an MMO, so eventually they're going to shut down the servers. Who knows when that'll happen, but I was like, I got to play it and beat it before all that happens. Alright, just in case to catch aggro, let me call out these guys. It's very hard with MMOs to stay up to date with them because they're so time consuming. Eventually you just kind of like, if you take a little bit of a break, it's kind of like hard to get back into it. So that's probably what happened to me back in the day, because that kind of happened to me too with Final Fantasy XIV. So I played that when it first came out. Wasn't very good, but then I replayed it again once Realm Reborn got released, which I really loved. So once I finished the storyline for Realm Reborn, I was like, let me go back and I'll hold off on the game until the next expansion comes out, and I'll go back to it. Which, you know, it's been what, 4 expansions later, and I still haven't gone back to it. So I gotta get back to that game too eventually. Nice, thank you. It's gonna be a great journey. Yeah, they are very, very old school. It's not too hard. I mean, once you understand it, it's pretty like easy. I know there's so many different jobs though, and each job kind of has like different abilities. And some of the abilities get kind of what works here and there. So like I try to like level up everything. So as you can see, I leveled up all these jobs. I didn't level up, you know, the ones that are level 1, of course, because I upgraded everything else. Like they do certain months where like the experience is like doubled, so it's a lot easier to level up that way. So that's why I started leveling up all these other jobs. I wanted to try them all out to see if I liked them. I will say the only job I haven't liked so far that I started to level was Ninja. That's why it's only level 11. Because with Ninja, you gotta like, the game can be very expensive, and that's one of the problems back in the day, is because, you know, there's so many people with MMOs that like, oh, they jack the prices up on the products in the auction house, so you have to go spend like real money to get money, you know what I'm saying, for the game. So that's kind of annoying, or you have to grind for money in the game to be able to buy stuff, which is very, very time consuming. So yeah. So Ninja's one I think that's costs a lot of money, because you gotta need ninja tools to be able to use its abilities. All the mage classes, which I leveled them up because I ended up having the gil to buy the spells and stuff, which is really nice because there's so many different spells in this game. I don't know if I can look at them right now because I'm not in that class. I know I can. But yeah, so you can see even Black Mage here. These are all the Black Mage spells I have unlocked, and it's a lot. Not that all of them were useful, but I figured, you know what, let me try to get what I can. But it is really cool. But every job class here, I don't know if you've played MMOs, they all have different abilities. Like there's tank classes, DPS classes, your support classes. The class that I'm playing right now is Dancer, which is probably more of a support class in DPS. But, oh shit, I forgot to catch aggro. The only reason I chose to play as it is because I can figure I could travel around faster, and it would cost me less money, because it has 2 abilities that are very nice. So it has the Chocobo Jig, which I've used a couple times here, which increases your walking speed, so I can actually travel faster. And then it has another jig called Spectral, which casts Invisible and Sneak on you. Because a lot of enemies, like you see here, I just stood here, and they saw me, and they tried to attack. So if I had Spectral Jig on, they wouldn't attack me. So it actually makes it very useful when like trying to get through places faster, so you don't have to really fight. They're currently playing 14 while watching others play 11. 2 birds, 1 stone. That's how we do it. What was I doing? I was playing 2 games at once before. Not that long ago, because I was trying to platinum Final Fantasy 16. And I was also playing... Or was I grinding? I was playing something on PC, but I think I was grinding on my PC for something. I can't remember what game it was, but I was also playing 16 on my TV. I was just doing both back and forth. Which make it go faster. Are you far in 14? You playing it a long time? I totally forgot where I was going. So yeah, so Spectral Jig. Set on the fight. Alright, so I need to go to N7. Just finished Stormblood, the 3rd expansion. Nice. Yeah, I have to get back to 14. I think after I finish like all the story parts in here, I'll probably go back to 14. Because I've only done up the Realm Reborn's like base story. I haven't done anything past that. N7. Oh, stuck. Trying to level up all your crafters and gatherers before moving on to the next expansion. $14 is a lot easier to level stuff than this game is. I mean, leveling up jobs here is... Oh shit, I went the wrong way. It's a lot easier now than it was back in the day, but it's still pretty time consuming to level up all the crafts. Which, if you're just doing story, it's really no point. You don't really have to do any of that anymore. But a lot of people still do it for all like the completionist stuff. Wait, where am I? Did I go the wrong way? Am I in the right room? There's still a lot of people playing 11? Yes. So, let me see how many people are online in this server. Shit, I forgot how to do it. Region info, not region info. Search. Right now, there's 577 people online in this server. This server that I'm on is the second heaviest server, but it's primarily heavily Japanese. So this server is more heavy Japanese day. The busiest server, which I didn't choose, is shit. I can't remember what it was called. I didn't pick it because apparently there's a lot of bots on that server, and I was like, I don't want to deal with that one. But that one's primarily American, the other one. So yeah, 577 right now isn't a crazy amount, but it is still pretty decently sized. But most of the people that you're playing, like, you won't see a lot of them as you travel like the world, but when you're in the towns, you'll see a lot more, especially in a couple of the towns. That's kind of like where they all sit, is because they're trying to do like the end game stuff. But I would say it's still a decent amount of people play the game overall, just because they still do charge monthly for it, unless of course you're doing like the Horizon thing. But if you're doing the resale version, they still like, I can't remember, like $12 a month or something. Alright, what did I miss? Because it says N7, but I can't get to N7. Shit. Oh, you know what? Maybe I... Oh, there is no N7. This is that gray dot, or the green dot in the corner here. Oh, it is. I'm gonna have to fight these damn spiders, huh? Yeah, fuck. Game should be free after 20 plus years. That is true, it probably should be, considering they don't really put in a whole lot of new content anymore. That's probably part of the reason it's still around. It's because they charge us for it. So it kind of probably is still able for them to put a team into it just to kind of do like maintenance. But it's pretty much, I think, from the last update they told everybody, it's like kind of like a graveyard crew. Where everybody else has like moved on. So I think as far as like they go releasing like story content, I think they're completely done with that. They do. I haven't really done any of them. I don't think anybody really does them that I've seen. For the most part, they're just they're nothing like special, I don't think. I wouldn't expect a Philistine of the construction arts to notice, but a veteran like me can detect even the slightest change in the water. The recent shake can definitely cause a stir. One of my colleagues reported hearing a loud crack, like a bomb going off. Yes, I imagine that would put us in a bit of a pickle. It's all we can do to even find the source. Repairing it? Bah, you better hope those pioneers are good for more than they're just trapezing in the jungle. So all I want to do is talk to him. Okay. Did you say anything else? Nope, okay. So talk to you, and I want to go to I6 and also D8. You know what? I should probably go... This way's probably faster. The fact that they still charge for this game too kind of makes it stand like the test of times. And hey, like, still good this so long after that people still want to pay for it. Because there's so many MMOs that they come out and like, oh yeah, you gotta pay for it, and then they go free to play like really soon after because nobody wants to play the damn thing. Can I go this way? Not that they're bad, they're just really not enough content to really keep people there. So I remember when DC Universe came out, I played that, and I actually bought a lifetime membership thing for, I think it was like $200. And then it ended up going free to play, and I was like, are you fucking serious? What did I spend that money for? But for all like the people that bought the lifetime things, I think they did a bunch of stuff for. I just can't remember what, because I haven't played that game in a long ass time either. Because like where this MMO back in the day was very, even today, nowadays, it's still very time consuming, and where you have to go and getting from place to place back in the day was harder. Where nowadays you can actually, you have the ability to warp from crystals. But even now with that, it's still kind of time consuming to travel through the dungeons and stuff because they're so massive. Where in games like DC Universe, I remember playing for like 2 days and already being like max level and everything, because MMOs started to become very, I guess, fast paced, where this is very slow paced. Water box contains waterway facility crank. That's it? That's all I need to click on? Okay. Alright. Crabs, leave me alone. Most people said that 11 was revolutionary back then. I can agree to that. It really was. It was very... See, a lot of MMOs now, like, yeah, you're around the world with people. Yeah, now you need to join parties like here and there for like certain dungeons and stuff, like even 14's like that. But you can progress the story like all alone. Where like with this, you can do some story bits by yourself, but if you ever have to go to a dungeon, like it's best to do it with somebody else. If it leads to like a boss fight, you need a party for it. If you go into certain dungeons, like you kind of need party members with you to get like through certain areas. Cause like I said, like with one of the dungeons, you need to be able to stand on top of some weights to open the door. But you can only do that if you have like 4 people with you. Now, since this game's so old, they've bypassed all that, so you don't need that stuff anymore. But back in the day, like the stuff they did was really cool. Like they put a lot of effort into this, and like even these maps are like completely huge. And even the maps are kind of hard to read sometimes in certain areas, because like, oh, I can go that way, but you can't because it's blocked off, but you can't see that on the map. So they're spent a lot of time developing this, you can tell. Like right here, for example, I can't go through this damn door. There's no way to open it. But on the map, it shows that it's fucking clear. There's a lot of trial and error. Even some of the dungeons too have like puzzles that you need to solve. And they like, the passwords for them like change every like so often, like time-wise. But with this game too, back in the day, you needed just to level up, you needed a party. That's kind of like why I have these guys here, is because they introduced trust into it later on in the game, like years later. So instead of having to like, you know, form a party and then grind for levels, you can just do it yourself. You have these party members, like NPCs, that can help you out do it. Or back in the day, you would be, you know, put on this little, where is it? Well, I can't do it right now because I have them. But you click on this little party app, and then you say, hey, I'm looking for a party. People would say, hey, do you want to join? Yeah, I got you. And then you go sit somewhere for like 4 hours and gain like 2 levels. And this game is very rough, because if you die, then you lost so much experience. Like you could grind for like a day straight, die once, and lose like a week's worth of experience. It was very fucking brutal. trustworthy. Some of them. Some of them not so much. But there's so many of them, which is cool. And they're all based off characters like NPCs in the game. But a lot of them just aren't very useful. There are definitely ones that are better than others. Alright, so I need to go D8 this way. And then there should be a NPC. Surrounded by toads, of course. So I was just here minding my own business, see? Then all of a sudden, a huge flash of light, and boom, I darn near soiled myself. The area's gone a bit foul, and I'm afraid it'll take a while before the thing's back to normal. But boy, take a gander at this. It's part of a wooden fuse, wouldn't you say? How crazy would you have to be to try to blow up the waterways? Okay, so somebody tried to fuck it up. Alright, so now that I did that. Alright, so now we just go back to the castle. I wonder if I should just warp or run out. It'd be a lot faster if I warp. Yeah, fuck it. What I can do while I'm here. Not that one, this one. Whoops, I don't want to talk to you. Alright. Back to Adeline and to the castle. The one thing I will say that's kind of bad with the story-wise in this game is a lot of the times all you have to do is walk up into an area and then a cutscene will start for that story. Now, when I first started this again, because there's so many different scenarios that pop in the game, like the first time I went to one of like kind of the Middletown hub in Juneau, it kicks off some scenes and I'm like, I'm not even near level to even do like those stories yet. So by the time I start to do them, it's gonna be like, wait, what's going on again? Oh, this is that storyline. But yeah, just kind of weird. But it does happen. So I was doing a storyline for something, and I got a cutscene when I went into an area that I thought was going to be for this story. It ended up being for a separate story. So I was like kind of thrown off. I was like, wait, what's going on now? Why are you here? But I'm like, oh yeah. So it would have been nice to kind of like make it an NPC that you have to talk to like start stories instead of just walking into certain areas. So that kind of like throws you off when you're like focusing on one story. Castle. Multiple wardens have tasked you with surveying Riley waterways. Wait, didn't I already? I thought I did it already. Did I miss something? I talked. Did I not look at the right box or something? So I talked to the Taryu. I talked to the Galco. He gave me the broken fuse. Did I miss the 1 point? Whoops. Maybe I clicked on the wrong thing when I was on that, like, bridge part. Well, let me go back there. Damn it. I don't want to fight you, Mr. Bat. Let me go back to I-6, because that would have been the thing that I missed. But I'm pretty sure I clicked on it because it was that fucking crate. Unless the crate was wrong. Oh, you know what? I did click on the wrong thing. Whoops. It's right here. That's it. Quick glance reveals spoiled water trickling from upstream, likely caused by effluvium from the recent destruction. Wow. That's what I missed. Okay. I'm about to walk out because my warp's not going to be ready. So that's cool. So apparently a very long cutscene coming in too. Which way was it this way? Do, do, do. Okay, now this should work. Alright, nice. Oh, sorry, hit my mic. That's right, you made it back whole. With all that trekking and fighting, you must be positively exhausted, but I'm afraid we haven't much time. Please, what happened? Yes, we must know. The flow of water has changed? What? An explosion and a bright flash of light? What on Vana'diel? And this is a broken fuse. That huge shaking wasn't a land shiver, but rather... I was afraid of this. Arcella, it's as I told you. The currents changed not of their own accord, but by the hand of another. Every ripple, every breath, all worked in concert, forming a barrier that forestalled spirits of a most foul nature. A barrier to ward off evil? Exactly. This served its purpose well, yet Ignis's transformation to a Leafkin was not only the doing of the Founder King, he surely had help from the World Tree. The Founder King's grave is the heart of the barrier, both physically and etherically. A force far beyond our comprehension has held the seal together. And the grander a force is, the more likely even the smallest of deviations will sow discord. The Founder King's will has come under assault countless times, so it's no surprise that eventually part of it should yield. And the calamities that have begun to befall us are the direct result of this. Yet what piques my curiosity most is that which that's right found in the waterways. Changing the natural flow of water is like asking the tree to bend it against the wind, but were the tree to be cut down instead. The explosion has caused the entire incantation to be overwritten. The protections placed over the city have begun to fade. But the incantation has changed. The question is, what's it been changed to? Sadly, my crux can only detect that it has changed. I surmise that the currents flowing from this world into the next, were not various and sundry evils from passing through the ethereal barrier, separating them have been reversed. Reversed? Which means what exactly? That which I had warded now beckons. Its essence shielded all life from that which would wreak uncontrolled destruction, but now, it's but a matter of time before true terror is made manifest. In this corrupted Stygian tide, the city will sink into the underworld. I speak, of course, of the incantation itself. No longer does it keep demons out, it draws them in. The city itself will soon be under assault. How long before it succumbs, I do not know. What are you implying? I hardly need to spell out what this means for the future of our once peaceful nation, but in the worst case, the city itself may be absorbed into another dimension. What? The other orders will surely not believe these words wholesale, but someone must inform them of the danger and lead us to conquer the evil within. Yet that task must fall to someone other than me. Arcella, you bore witness to all the events that have transpired in the forest. I can think of no other, both as a person and as a bloodline of the Founder King. I suppose you're right. I'll do all I can. Icky, I ask that you share with them the same tale you have just shared with us. Then it is decided. We will convene a meeting of the 12 Orders post-haste. We must make clear what really happened in the waterways, and Lafalia. That's right, you've always given me the courage to go on. I'd like you to be present too. Sure. Of course. Response warms my heart. Then I must make the appropriate preparations. Of course, we must convince them at any cost. That's right. I have to get ready too. Let's meet up here once everyone's set. Until then.